That's so funny. All right, everyone, we're gonna get started.
Okay, so basically the goal of this session is to have a lot of hands-on experience with Bloomberg. So you guys all should open up before we get started. Should open up this spreadsheet that we emailed to you guys, and we'll be filling out the inputs in blue, so you can really see how it actually works messing with Bloomberg. And then also log into the Bloomberg Terminal now. So we'll give you a second to do that. And then as you're doing this, if you're online or if you're in person, if you have a question, please just speak out and we'll answer it there because we're not monitoring the chat as much while we're talking. So we're gonna have about a 20-minute introduction to Bloomberg. And then we're gonna set you guys off on your own. We'll be walking around to help you guys fill out this spreadsheet. And then we'll come back and I'll show you on the screen share how I did it and how you should have filled in the inputs. So before we get started, do you guys have any questions?
And if anyone needs help logging on to Bloomberg, let us know about that also.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You guys all started for me. I'll send it out. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Keep going.
You want to overview it?
Yeah. Okay, so starting off, we're just gonna go over like a brief description of how to use basic functions on Bloomberg for equities. So today we'll be looking at Delta Airlines, and their ticker is DAL. So if you go on the top search bar and just type DAL, you'll see all of these options. And since we're looking at the equities, that'll be down here under securities. And you can just either click DAL US equity and click enter, or just click on this here. Now, once you're on this screen, is everyone able to get here? So once you're here, these are just some of the most common Bloomberg functions that people use when looking at equities. So we're just going to go over a few, such as the security description, financial analysis, earnings and estimates, as well as the line chart, current news, and financials. So starting off with the description, you could just type DES, and it'll bring up the description for Delta. And here you can just see some of the brief like company description, overview, essentially how the business functions. I think most of us are familiar with Delta Airlines, but if you're looking up a company that you don't know much about, that's a good place to start. And you can also see some of a quick line chart here, as well as some common financial data, market cap, short interest, percent of float, etc. So next, if you're trying to look at some financial analysis, if you just click FA, enter. Here you'll be able to see their financials. So here we have some key stats, and you can break it down into income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, ratios, and etc. And you can see here also that you can pull up a chart if you're looking at revenues or just specific one section if you only want revenues. And it really allows you to kind of make comparisons. You can see gross profit versus revenue and kind of do that, mess around with it. So take a minute to just look around the description in the financial analysis section. Let us know if you have any questions, and then we'll move on to the next section. All right, does anyone have any questions? Were you guys able to find everything easily? Okay. So moving on, the next shortcut we'll look at is EE. And that'll be earnings and estimates. Yeah, what Leslie said, if anyone has questions online, just unmute yourself and ask. I have the chat up, but I might miss it, so just feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, and going over earnings and estimates, you can see here earnings trends over the past few quarters, as well as expectations. Or is this? Oh, this is stock price versus estimates. And this is where you'll get a lot of the earnings. Sorry, a lot of the earnings information. So growth versus comps, these are past surprises if they beat or miss. You can see how the graphs change when you're clicking on different things. If you're trying to look specifically at revenue or EBITDA or something else. And you can look at the current period as well as the prior period. Another thing that people like to look at is this first section here is the history. So that's just past performance. The consensus overview is kind of what the street view is and what people are expecting. And then the analyst coverage are from sell-side analysts for the most part who are monitoring the ticker and giving updates on it when their views change or their price targets change. And so you can see that the target price for the average target price for analyst coverage right now is around the same as the current price. So feel free to just mess around here, look at different, just go around. So these are just some of the analyst readings. You can see that these banks cover it, or these research firms. You can see what they're recommending and what their price target is. Now, I wouldn't just take an analyst's word for it every time because oftentimes they are sell-side analysts, and so it's just one point of reference, but just because a price target is 30% higher or something doesn't mean that the stock has to go up 30%. So definitely do your own research as well, but something good to look at if you want some confirmation on your own thoughts. The next chart that we'll look at is EP. So that'll just be like a basic line chart. You can see here, this is just the stock price, but you can overlay this with different values. So, where is it? So you can throw in like price, PE estimates, price over earnings. And if you want to like add data, compare other stocks. So if you want to compare Delta's performance to like the S&P, we can do that here as well. So you can see the green line is the S&P index and Delta is the white line. can compare, they have some comps here that you can pick as well if you want to compare them against American Airlines, perhaps. Most of their airlines move in sync, so you can see they're kind of in the same area. But and then another thing you can do is also so you can compare different tickers here, overlay revenue, overlay EBITDA. If you think there's a correlation between some ratio and the stock price, you can do that here as well. And then the next ticker or the next shortcut we're going to look at is CN. So this will give you any current news on Delta. So if you go down, you can see who kind of reported it, what the title is, and when it came out. So the top rank news is usually the most important. And then below that is just chronological order, with most recent being first. So you can see Bloomberg will just kind of have the article for you as soon as you click on it. It won't redirect you. It's a good place to see some top news, right? Like if you're doing some initial screening on a stock. And then the last shortcut we'll look at today is CF. And this will give you all of their financial documents. So like if you're looking for their 10K or 10Q, 8K earnings call, any of that, you can do that here. You can filter it if you're only looking for filings. You have their 10K. And the 10K will include, for those of you that don't know, 10K is the annual report and the 10Q is a quarterly report. So the 10K will give you like an overview of the company as well as how they performed in the past year, what their risks are, what they're looking forward to in the future, and just forecasted guidance as well. So it's a great place to do some fundamental research on a stock and see if it's a company that you want to invest in. So now using all of these tickers, should be able to complete the DCF and actually find the information that you need to input in the DCF through Bloomberg. So let's get started on that, and we'll regroup in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. 15, 20 minutes to see how everyone's doing. And if anyone has questions or stuck along the way, feel free to ask us any questions.
And another thing to note here, all of these inputs you want to put in as you see it on Bloomberg. So these are reported sometimes in thousands or millions, but just put them in as you see, except for shares outstanding. You need to make that into like full shares outstanding. So if it says like I'm reported in thousands, put 3 zeros on the end, just because of how the model's set up.
Do you know
just, you don't use like Bloomberg in Excel, right? Or like, well, is this like typically how you would set it up? Like, is this the fastest way? Or is like, would you ever use stuff up here or no, you just pull up?
Yes,
Like if you were doing it,
you need stuff up here that's
Mhm.
going to automatically update the stock price. So. That's it.
so that's good, that's the plus you can do, like, in real practice, yeah. So is it like consistently updates?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. But for this, it's probably like,
Yeah, it's not just for them, you just find the kind of,
okay,
it's like any classic.
Yeah. Perfect.
For the stock price, just use 48.9 since it's constantly moving right now. Yeah, that's it. I'm just interested.
It's, I can see. She's like. So it's like. So. I just.
What's the year-over-year growth?
Okay, yes. I didn't have a.
I didn't hear it.
So it's actually in the piece. Each. No, that's okay. And then it's this, but you have to like take it over.
Sorry about this. Thank you.
Is everyone close to being done? You think another 3 minutes is good?
These components, like just average.
Yeah.
So like that.
I'm gonna go one more minute and then I'll go over how to do it.
If you like it.
I think I shared the whole screen so that when I change the. Like, right now you're sharing just the bill, so when I change to the. CFC. It's like fine.
Okay.
Stuff. Okay, we're gonna get started. So I'm just gonna go into Delta Airlines here. And then actually most of these stats can be found on just 2 pages. So we'll go back to the spreadsheet to kind of just remind you. The first thing you need to find is discount rate. The easiest way to find this, and this is something you can try whenever you're kind of stuck, is just to search it. So if you search WAC, it actually just comes up with it here. So if you're stuck on that one, it's kind of the easy fix. And then, so it's 7.8%. Okay, and then the next few things you can find on the description page. So again, that's DES. And then up here's the price. And as a DTF said, it changes a lot. So I think we just decided to put in 48.9. Okay, the next one, shares outstanding. So that's also on this description page. So again, if you're not here yet, DES. We can scroll down. And here you'll see kind of a bunch of different metrics in the company. Yeah, and we want to use the shares out float. And you can see this is in millions right now. So like I said before, just with the way the model's set up, we need to put that into regular shares outstanding. So right now we have 638.1 million. So here you can just. Okay. So I didn't put that in millions as Bloomberg said, I just put it down as total shares outstanding. Okay, and then the next things we can find on the financial analysis. Shortcut, so FA. And as you can see here in FA, there's a lot of different tabs with additional information. Everything we need is actually on this key stats tab, which is really nice because this is a lot of the things that you'll be using. So the total debt, we want to make sure that we use 2020, and we're going to put that in just as Bloomberg says. So 35,548. And then excess cash is also on the screen as cash and equivalents. And we're going to put that in again as Bloomberg reports it, so 14,096. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, and these are just going to become some of our inputs that change your valuation. All right, so then down here, the sales is really what drives a lot of this DCF model. So we want to make sure we get this right. So this is going to be sales for 2020. So if we go back, and it's actually still on this same screen, the FA. And you want to find revenue adjusted, you go over to 2020. So 17,095. And as you can see, that changed a lot of things because everything's linked together. And then we're going to have sales growth as well. Because Delta is an airline and during the coronavirus pandemic, there's a lot of kind of turbulence in the growth. So if we go here, this is still on this page, the financial analysis. And these numbers are obviously estimations. No one knows kind of a lot of the things we've been doing in the past few minutes is revenue and debt and cash and things that are certain. But these are things that there's a lot of flexibility in different estimates. So in order to see more years past this horizon, you can just click this arrow here and it'll bring us back. So the estimates for growth in 2021 are 50%, which is really high. This isn't normal. But then if you look back kind of at this year to sanity check it, in 2020, as is kind of expected, they had a negative 63% growth. So this 50% is just saying, okay, they're on their way to come back up to what they were before. So yeah, it's important to kind of check that the numbers you're putting in make sense. If I saw like a 50% in a different DCF model, I would kind of question it. So it's good to make sure to go back and understand why. So then 47.6. $15.3.
Sorry.
Okay. And that populates our whole model. So those are just the inputs that we had you guys do. Any questions? Was everyone able to put in those inputs?
Any questions online? Everyone got all that?
Okay, since we have more time, I don't know how much you guys have worked with Bloomberg in the past, but if you have any questions on anything you want to learn how to do, we can try answering those.
Yes.
So the assumptions of like what the R&D, the common size, like the depreciation 5.5% a year, where did you draw those assumptions from? Was that from Bloomberg or was that just?
Those were historical averages. So I used the 10K and I found from historical, but I could have used Bloomberg for those as well.
So you could just go in the past 5 years, take the average growth in like DNA or R&D for the past 5 years and just use that as your forecasting. As long as it's a stable number, it doesn't change too much of it. Anyone else have any questions about Bloomberg in general?
I do have a question.
Yes.
To get the excess cash, you go into cash and equivalents, right?
Right.
But when you search like excess cash delta in like the search bar, it tells that it's negative 5.69 billion. Like I just want to know like the difference between like the cash and equivalents and like excess cash per se.
So one thing to note is that every time you search something, when it says delta up here, you're already searching under delta. So like that's why when we put WAC, it already knew you were talking about delta. So I don't know if you put excess cash delta or if. So a lot of times when you search something and it doesn't have something specific to the company you're on, it'll just give you a definition. So I don't know specifically what value you found.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, so this is the cash flow. So this is like how much cash they lost in the last year. So we're looking at how much cash they have on their balance sheet. I'm gonna make sure you're looking at their balance sheet, not the cash flow.
Yeah, and like with a lot of this stuff, there's multiple places you could get it. So if I went to financial analysis, I wanted to find it in a different place because say I didn't see it here. I could also go to the balance sheet, find 2020, and there's that same number there too. The point of this key stats page is just to pull together a lot of the things that you'll probably need for evaluation. Anything else?
Hi, I have a question.
Okay,
I
so-
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's about like the and you could you clarify which ones are in millions, which ones are in thousands? Yeah, I looked over what you had.
Yeah, so all of these numbers that we put in, the revenue, the cash, those are in millions. So you can see that up here. Some companies, it might say in thousands, depending on the size of the company and how easy it is to report that. And then shares outstanding, when we did that, so we'll go back. So that was in millions as well. And if the model was set up different, you could have just put in this 638.1 million. So just with the way the model was set up, when I divided by shares outstanding here, I multiplied it by 1 million to put them all in millions. So if I didn't do that,
Oh, God, that makes sense.
yeah, then I would have gotten the same thing. So it was just the way the model was set up. All right, anyone else? Okay, we're going to turn it over to Leslie and she'll tell you about some more opportunities in the Cutler Center.
Great, guys. Thank you. So I just want to quickly thank Calliope and Aditya for all your hard work today on today's session. Thanks everyone online and in person for joining us. I hope you guys found it helpful. I will circulate the recording to all of you and would encourage you to use the spreadsheet provided by Calliope and Aditya to go back through and practice again on your own time. And if you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to either reach out to me or any of the Cutler Center assistants, and they can certainly help you navigate Bloomberg as well. And then lastly, before we wrap up, I just want to mention our final Finance Lab 101 session for this semester, which will be on April 2nd. We have Tyson Corner and Ben Stegman planning to run a session that will cover the basics of screening in FactSet. So more details to come on that session soon, but I hope that you all join us again for that one. And you know, that's it for today. I hope you all have a nice weekend.